Good morning, everyone. Come on in. I want to make sure that you guys hit that like button. Also, make sure you're a subscriber of this channel and share this video and drop your comments. I want to make sure I have this disclaimer up. Don't come for me, but guys, Pastor Marvin Winans don't want $1,200, baby. He want that 2,000. Listen, I know some people may say, leave the church alone. I'm just giving my opinion. So, with this stating that, this is the Copyright Act of 1976 under Section 107. This is for fair use purposes, news reporting, teaching, researching. And for me, you guys, if you're over here, you know my slogan, it's always that jazz. So, with it stating that, I am not going to hold you. Let me go ahead and pull this up on Instagram. I'm citing my source, Rap House TV. I want to send a huge shout out to Rap House TV. Let's see here. Okay, so this is what happened. I want you guys to understand the context. It says Pastor Marvin Winans gets upset at church members for only donating 1,200 when he asked for 2,000. Now, if you can see the lady on the screen, let me see, can I make it a little bit bigger? The lady on the screen, that is one of the parishioners or one of the church goers and things of that nature. Let me put my phone on do not disturb. Okay, so I want you guys to listen to this. That's her in the white. I'm assuming that's her grandson, not sure. And that's Pastor Wines right there. Let's listen to what she and he has to say. Honey, but let me let y'all listen.
Roberta McCoy, giving faith and stand in unity with the vision of perfecting church of sowing this seed of $1,000 plus $235 and receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
Baby, I'm quite sure some of you guys have already heard it or seen it on another content creator channel, and this thing is going worldwide. Listen, because I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna read it a little bit more in depth. Some of the people stated, I would have took my little blessings right back and gave it to 10 homeless people. Another person said, the way I would have reached out in Jesus' name and took my 1,200 back and left it in return. Ooh, baby. Another person said, nope, I'd rather feed and clothe the homeless. And it goes on and on and on and on. Okay, let me stop sharing that. So, with it stating that, let me go ahead and I wanted to bring up a little bit more. Now, if you guys are not in the church world and you don't really know who, he is, he's actually the sibling of, I think it's nine of them, eight or nine, but he's the sibling of BB and CC Wine. A lot of, if you don't know him, you know them, gospel singers, you know. hmm Addicted to love, you will know it. I'm addicted my heartache. Yeah, y'all know I can't sing, but it is what it is. That's not my forte. My mind is a business mind. But I have a little tune here and there, depending on if I'm in the shower and the mist in the water is right. I'm one of those shower singers. But yeah, what I wanted to do is I just really want to go ahead and bring up this article. I want to send a huge shout out to international. Hold on, let me pull it up. Okay, this is, let me scroll down for you guys can see. International Business Times. I wanted to shout that source out. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more context to what, from what I can tell, is going on. It states here, inside the clip, and let me see when they wrote this. This was put out. Well, it was edited today at 9:30. It was put out on. Yeah, it was put out on 8:30 this morning, but then they went in and edited, so they must have found some more information. So, anywho, let me stroll. Okay, so inside the clip, the $1,200 clip, as reported by Newsbreak, the now verbal clip from the shows that Winans speaks to members of his congregation during a live service reporting part of the church annual day of giving. The woman stepped forward with her denomination of $1,235, explaining that it represents her pledge amount. Okay, that's the operative word, her pledge amount. And I'm going to give my context as I'm going. For me, I know that every pastor is not like that, but it really bothers me that it got to a point in this society, and it's probably always been going on, but we just didn't know about it. But it's to a point where some pastors, some whatever church or whatever who you praise to, wants to put a certain demand or amount, allegedly on what you're able to give for your tithes and offerings. And a lot of times they have a building fund where money goes directly into paying, keeping the church up and renovations and different things of that nature. So they have different pots. So for me, baby, I'm gonna tell you right now, you'll be hard pressed, and it depends on if I come into some money. Whatever I make, I give what God states that you have to give. But you would not get $1,200 from me. You wouldn't even get oh no, you probably would get 100 out of me, depending on how much. Yeah, maybe 100. You may get 100 out of me. I'm gonna tell you why. Times are hard. Times are hard. And the building fund for me is my home, where I do a lot of my praying at. I'm just keeping it 100. But Pastor Wines can do whatever he want, and a lot of these other pastors. Now you still got some good pastors out there. But at the end of the day, let me go ahead and finish. Excuse me. Wines responded by clarifying that he asked for 2,000, saying that's only 1,200. You're not listening to what I am saying, which we heard him say that out of his own mouth. And a lot of people may want to say, well, that's just a clip. You didn't hear everything that, it doesn't matter if it's a clip or not. If you go up with your offering, and I'm gonna need the parishioners or the congregation, however they call you guys, I'm gonna need you guys to understand that that's just a man. That's not God. And she turned around and she smiled. I don't know if she was embarrassed. I don't know. I mean, she goes to the church. Maybe she knows him. Maybe she felt he was kidding. I don't know. But everybody, it stated it was televised. So I just don't know. I don't understand that. If someone gives you what they have, be grateful for that. Do you know how many pastors in small churches or any church at this point and where we're at this tumultuous time that's going on, that can come and give you $1,200? Really? Baby, I don't care what the prompts and pretenses were. You better be glad to get that. Anywho, the member replied that she would work on the rest. Wines continued, well, he said, well, that ain't what I asked you to do. The brief exchange drew audible reactions from the congregation and has since divided online audience. While some interpreted the pastor tone as harsh, others defend him, arguing that he was reinforcing a commitment made during a faith-based fundraising appeal. Okay, it's a commitment, but guess what? baby, you would have got the $5, the $5. And I'm not saying people can't do what they want to do with their money and all that stuff. They can do whatever they want to do. His church is in Detroit. It says its best known ministry, but its ambition construction project on the Woodward Avenue has faced nearly 2 decades of delays. Well, I'm wondering how much money have they been taking in these last 2 months, especially if he's asking for 2,000. How much was he asking before? So, anywho, it says here that the purpose of the mega church complex was designed to include a 3,500 square foot sanctuary, residential unit, and parking facilities. In 2023, the city of Detroit filed a lawsuit against Perfecting the Church and Wines, citing that the unfinished site as a public nuisance. The lawsuit was dropped later that year after the church agreed to provide new construction timelines and financing plans. The agreement required regular progress updates, paving the way for renewed fundraising efforts. In 2 decades, in 2 decades, I don't know. I don't know. And then it says that, let me scroll up a little bit. Sources close to the church says recent appeals for large donations are intended to accelerate the construction and meet the new project deadline. Supporters have pointed to Wine's long-term vision to complete a long-lasting spiritual and community center for Detroit residents. Once again, thank you, International Business and Times. Okay, let's stop sharing. So my whole thing with it is that if you have to, get money to build or whatever, most churches, like I state, have their tithe and offerings, and then they also have their building fund, and you put your money in an envelope, and you put, if you're going to do, and even with the church that my husband and I belong to, even during COVID, even now, if I'm not feeling well, I still am. Most churches, they have everything. You can do it on television. I watch the service, and when it's time for tithes and offerings, I just go online and I pay my money. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do I like it? Everybody can do what they want, but I think it was wrong. Whatever the woman says she could give, regardless of what, your church can ask for what they want, but it's whatever a person has to give. And, sometimes pastors, I feel, in my opinion, sometimes pastors can feel like they can say whatever they want and talk to people however they want. But you have to understand that you have visitors that come to your church. You have people that's coming to your church that may be possibly looking at your church to maybe want to join. And I just feel it's not about what you say. Sometimes it's how you say it. But in this case, it's not only what he said, it's how he said it and how he stated. He could have easily stated, thank you for the 1,200. Baby, I wish I would come up with another $800 for him, for that church. You've had 2 decades to break that down. I don't know how much you owed. I'm not going to take the time to go into look it up, because I'm quite sure everything is public record when you were cited. Um, but I'm quite sure if you broke it down over the decades, and if you saved the money and put it in an actual building fund, I'm not stating that they did not, but in 2 decades, you telling me that now you must be have to be at the deadline, close to the deadline, based on what was stated in the International Business Times, allegedly. I'm just citing the source. So you must be close to the deadline, because it clearly, I already taken it down, but it was stating that, with the time approaching or whatever. So you're asking for more because you're trying to play catch up. That's not the parishioners or the congregation's fault. If you guys were taking the money in for the building fund separate from the offering, and you broke it down within 2 decades, come on. That's all I'm stating. Okay, I'm gonna state this. This is to all the church folks. I'm a church person, but I'm not a holy roller. Don't come over here talking about I can't say this. This is my opinion. Read it down below. Copyright Act 1976 under Section 1 of fair use. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. I'm not putting Pastor Wyans down. But what I'm stating is that he has to be more diplomatic when he's asking people in these trying times for an amount of money. And not just him, any pastor. You don't even have to be in a mega church. There are churches that sometimes may not even collect $100 for, they may have a small congregation. Just be thankful, because regardless of how somebody dressed to the nine and come into church, that doesn't mean that they have it. And ma'am, I'm gonna state this to you. You're grown, you can do what you want with your money, but I just felt like he seen that young man standing there, and I really don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to, bump tread lightly. Pastor Wines, you was wrong. You was wrong. I'm gonna state you was wrong. You should have took whatever she gave you and kept it pushing. Just because you possibly allegedly have a deadline that's approaching, you've been cited, they gave you a time to fix or do whatever. You should have had a building fund and broke it down. In 2 decades, you telling me you couldn't come up with the money? Huh. Child, please, these pastors need to go sit down somewhere. You're supposed to be the Bible say build a place where my people can come and worship. He didn't say build a place for my people to come and worship, and they leave broke and despaired. Child, let me get out of here. I've said what I had to say. Until next time, you guys hit that like button if you didn't on your way coming in. Go ahead and hit it. Put your comments below. I'm not looking down on anyone, but be grateful for what somebody give you. Don't, tell my that's not what I asked for. Well, it don't matter what you asked for. This is what you're going to get. Because if I was standing in front of you, I would have gave $5 and I was told you I want my $5 back, homie. Okay, I'm going to the left. Okay. Till next time, peace and soul. Don't forget to subscribe.